So we're taking a break from the daily 1UPdate today to do something a little Retronauts-ish.
Yeah, what is this?
This is 1942 by Capcom, our Ultracade arcade machine here at the IGN offices. It's basically an excuse for me to play old video games on the clock.
Okay.
But yeah, I just thought we'd have a little casual conversation about the history of 1942 as we try not to die horribly listening to the terrible music.
Shit. So wait, so let me get this straight. This came out in 1984.
Right, but it's called 1942.
Yeah, and you're invading Japan, but it's a game made by the Japanese.
Yeah, this is kind of a weirdly tasteless game in that, yeah, you're basically playing as an American fighter in the Pacific Theater, which is the point at which like a century of Japanese domination of Asia came to an end because they were basically crushed by the American fleet and the counter attack after Pearl Harbor. So it's kind of weird. And it's a little bit like having an American game where you play as, I don't know, like a VC regular sneaking through the jungle, slitting American soldiers in the throat or whatever. It's a little strange, but that's Yoshiki Okamoto, who went on to develop what else? Street Fighter and Gyrus, and he went on to Game Republic and worked on Folklore. So there's kind of a legacy here, and this was actually the game that broke Capcom into the mainstream, which is pretty weird, given the substance, the content of the game, but. You never know. I guess there's that streak of self-flagellation. This was released kind of like at the height of the Japanese economic bubble, so maybe they felt like someone needed to humble them or something, reminded them that they weren't always awesome.
Well, at least it's nice to see they were over the war.
I guess so. Maybe it's not considered tasteless because there's nothing nuclear here. That's more of a hot button topic than the Pacific Fleet. Well, at least I got 1,000 points for dying.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah, 1942 is kind of a, I wouldn't say revolutionary shooter, but it's definitely been very influential. It's pretty much your basic top-down shooter, but it was faster paced and there were more vibrant patterns going on. There were kind of temporary power-ups you could pick up. So it was definitely a step above something like Xevious or Galaga. It definitely had a lot of sequels too. I mean, I don't think Okamoto worked on 1943, but 1943 was definitely the same kind of game, but much more impressive and much more vibrant. It came out a few years later, but then there have been other sequels like 1944, 1941, 1940X, all by Capcom, and then on top of that, there was Strikers 1945 by Psycho, and the first time I saw that in the arcade, I was like, oh man, finally they made an update, a sequel to 1943, but then I realized it wasn't actually. It was just kind of a World War II shooter with, by a Japanese developer, top-down, but not actually related.
So would you call this the first good top-down shooter?
Oh, no. I mean, there were other... Well, you mean like scrolling or what?
Yeah, scrolling-wise, yeah.
I mean, Xevious was really awesome, and that came out like 2 years before this. But it was definitely... And actually, Capcom's first games, Exit Exes and a few others, the games that came before this, were top-down shooters also, and they were pretty good too. But nothing was quite this manic before 1942. And compared to manic shooters of today, this is kind of a cakewalk. But
yeah, I was playing.
But you're also not, you're not spraying the screen with bullets, so there's a lot of challenge to it. There's tons and tons of enemies, and they're shooting at you, and the bullets come pretty fast. And it doesn't have any of the gimmicks of modern shooters. You can't absorb bullets. You can't, like fire a smart bomb to blow up all those bullets on the screen or anything like that. And there aren't really many power-ups. You can get the double bullets here, and there's also little guys who will fly next to you, kind of like the options in Gradius.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping you find them because they
I don't remember how
would
you
help
get
out.
those. It's been a while since I played this, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much all there is to this game. It's basically just a test of skill, and I think the challenge is to see how far you can get before you go crazy from this absolutely terrible music.
Yeah,
this game has the worst music of any video game ever made. I think it's supposed to sound like Morse code or whatever, like. That kind of military, what do you call it? The telefax, telegram, telegraph,
yeah, telegraph.
But it's just it's grating and annoying.
Yeah.
And it makes me angry. It makes me want to blow up Japan. So not like nothing personal. Just I feel good about killing these guys because they're making a lot of really irritating noises at me.
The button clicks don't even hide it. That's how kind of terrible it is. Yeah.
And with that on top of the sound of the bullets, it's really kind of irritating. But despite that, like the arcade game is still really good. It had a lot of really terrible ports. The NES port was developed by a company called Micronics and is infamously terrible. Sad. But despite some of the bad home ports, I think the arcade game still stands the test of time.
Whoa.
And it's actually been a popular enough game. Nice.
Jesus.
That Capcom revisited it as a 1942 joint strike for Xbox Live Arcade.
That's right. A couple years back when they had a lot of digital titles come out.
Yeah. And was that a Digital Eclipse title? Not Digital Eclipse. Backbone, I believe so.
Probably so. Yeah, that sounds right. Because that was around the time where they had Street Fighter HD remix
But I don't know, that
game
wasn't quite the same because this is a vertically oriented screen, and you don't have those on modern televisions. So, so even though the spirit was kind of there, it wasn't quite as quite the same thing. You don't have that top-down view. Oh.
Hey, you dodged danger. You're okay. Yeah.
I survived. Stranger danger. Only 30 more stages to go.